For decades, Enya's ethereal voice has enchanted millions, carrying listeners into worlds of peace, mystery, and timeless beauty. Songs like Orinoco flow and Only Time defined an era, becoming more than music. They were soundscapes for healing, reflection, and escape. Yet behind the angelic voice and carefully layered harmonies was a woman shrouded in secrecy, who rarely gave interviews, and who guarded her private life like a fortress. Fans have long speculated about her solitude, her choices, and the truth behind her silence. Now, at 64, Enya has finally revealed what we all suspected, that her journey, while filled with global success, was also shaped by sacrifice, loneliness, and a deliberate decision to live apart from the noise of fame. Enya Patricia Brennan was born in 1961 in Gweedore, County Donegal, Ireland, into a family where music was not just tradition but survival. Her siblings played in the folk group Clannad, and Enya herself joined briefly before branching off to pursue a different sound. With producer Nicky Ryan and lyricist Roma Ryan, she crafted music unlike anything heard before: layered vocals, atmospheric arrangements, and lyrics that drew from Irish, Latin, and even invented languages. By the late 1980s, she had become a global sensation, proving that music didn't need to fit industry molds to touch millions. Yet, even as her fame rose, she pulled further away from the spotlight, building a life that was as mysterious as her songs. While most stars embraced Hollywood lights, Enya retreated into the quiet halls of her castle home, Manderley, in Killiney, Ireland. Surrounded by high walls, security gates, and the sea beyond, her residence became a symbol of her desire for distance from the world. Few visitors ever crossed the threshold, and she rarely performed live, making her one of the most reclusive artists in modern history. For fans, her absence only deepened the mystique. Why would someone with such a heavenly gift choose to step so far away from fame? As the years passed, speculation grew. Was it fear, exhaustion, or something far more personal? The truth, as she admits now, was both simpler and sadder than most could have imagined. For Enya, music was never about celebrity. It was about refuge. In long studio sessions with the Ryans, she layered hundreds of vocal tracks, building soundscapes that reflected the world she wished to live in, calm, timeless, untouched by chaos. Fans use her songs to heal from heartbreak, to find peace during wars, to cope with grief. Her music, especially Only Time, even became a soundtrack for collective mourning after tragedies like 9/11. But what the world didn't see was that these songs were also her therapy, a way to channel the loneliness and isolation she carried. The melodies that soothed millions were often born from her own need to escape the darkness within. Despite selling over 80 million records worldwide, Enya never married, never had children, and often described herself as someone who found peace in solitude. Yet, as she now reveals, that solitude came with its own heartbreak. For years, she battled with the isolation her choices brought, sometimes feeling the weight of silence pressing too heavily on her. Her castle, while beautiful, was also a cage at times, cutting her off from the very world she inspired. She admits that she often wondered if she sacrificed too much for the sake of her privacy, leaving her fans to adore her voice while never truly knowing the woman behind it. Part of Enya's withdrawal came not just from preference but from necessity. Over the years, she faced frightening intrusions into her private life, including stalkers who broke into her home, forcing her to live with heightened security. These incidents left scars that never fully healed, reinforcing her decision to live in guarded seclusion. For many fans, this revelation confirms what they always suspected, that her mysterious absence wasn't just about artistic choice, but about survival. Behind the soft-spoken interviews and mystical image was a woman deeply aware of the dangers fame could bring, and she chose solitude as her shield, even if it meant carrying the pain of loneliness. At 64, Enya also admits that the pressures of maintaining her unique artistry took a physical and emotional toll. Years of long studio hours, coupled with her reclusive lifestyle, often left her battling exhaustion and periods of depression. She has never glamorized the price of fame, instead reminding fans that even in beauty and success, shadows remain. Though she has managed to protect her health far better than many of her peers, the truth is that her life was not untouched by struggle. Music gave her a voice, but it also demanded sacrifices that kept her isolated, sometimes at the very moments she needed connection most. Enya's absence from live concerts and media appearances made her an enigma, but it also preserved the purity of her art. Unlike so many stars who faded under the weight of overexposure, Enya's mystique only deepened her influence. Her albums remain timeless, her songs still streaming across generations, untouched by trends. Yet, as she reflects today, she knows that her silence also cost her a human connection with her fans that might have sustained her. People suspected that Enya's music was not just sound but soul, and now she admits, it truly was. Every note she gave was a piece of the life she lived quietly behind closed doors. Though she never built a family of her own, Enya has remained deeply connected to her siblings and extended Brennan clan. Music has always been their common thread, and she credits her family for keeping her grounded through the years of worldwide fame. Still, she acknowledges moments of regret, birthdays, holidays, and milestones she missed while immersed in her solitary work. Fans long suspected that her career came at the expense of a fuller personal life, and her recent admissions confirm it. Enya sacrificed intimacy and companionship for music, and though she accepts her choices, she admits that the trade-off often left her longing for a different kind of harmony. For years, fans speculated that Enya's life mirrored her music, beautiful but lonely, ethereal yet distant. And now, at 63, she confirms what many had quietly believed: her story is one of extraordinary gifts balanced by extraordinary costs. She poured her soul into her music, but in doing so, she built a life of solitude that few could endure. Her mystery was never just an artistic choice, it was a shield, a way to survive fame while keeping herself intact. Enya has finally spoken, and her words echo with the same haunting truth her songs always carried: that beauty often comes from pain, and that peace is sometimes born from sorrow. Even as Enya reflects on her sacrifices, her legacy shines undimmed. Her music continues to inspire, comfort, and transport millions around the globe. Young artists cite her as an influence, while older fans still turn to her for solace in difficult times. She may have lived her life in shadows, but the light she gave through her songs continues to burn brightly. What we all suspected, that Enya's music was her life, her therapy, and her greatest gift, has now been confirmed by the woman herself. And though she may never return fully to the public eye, her sound remains eternal, echoing long after the silence of her private life. At 63, Enya has given the world what it longed for, an admission of truth, quiet but powerful, that her solitude was both her protection and her prison. Her revelation confirms that she is, indeed, the very soul her music suggested: fragile, resilient, and deeply human. Fans now understand the choices that shaped her journey, and while the story is tinged with tragedy, it is also filled with awe. Enya's legacy is not one of fame or scandal, but of authenticity, of a woman who chose silence over chaos, and peace over popularity. And perhaps that is what we always expected, that the woman behind the voice lived exactly as her music sounded: mysterious, haunting, and forever unforgettable.